Joining us now is Tim Snyder, best-selling author of On Tyranny and another bestseller called The Road to Unfreedom. He's a professor of history at Yale University. Professor Snyder, thank you so much for coming in.
So glad.
I played last night. I talked about your book last night, sort of rules for staying sane and protecting yourself and protecting your country and amid the rise of authoritarianism. And I played a clip of Ambassador Yovanovitch walking to the podium at Georgetown University and getting this huge standing ovation, because I'm struggling with the lesson that I think the country is learning from the way all of the people who've stood up to the president have been punished and had their careers destroyed, and in some cases their personal lives destroyed. I was trying to think about how you support those people, how you countermand that example. I wanted to get your perspective on that.
Yeah, there are, I think, three things. The first is we have to recognize, as free people always do, that the heroes aren't always the ones who have all the power, right? We have a long tradition of recognizing the heroes as the people who resist power. We should probably return to that. Second one, and it's in the book, is professional ethics. Marie Yovanovitch should be supported by other diplomats and people who respect diplomats. The lawyers who resign should be defended by other prosecutors and people who respect prosecutors. The third thing is that a lot of us have to be willing to dissent. When a lot of us dissent, it's no longer dissent anymore, it's opposition, and people aren't so lonely. Then more people can have courage, because you can pick on 100 people, but it's a lot harder to pick on 1 million people.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.